Hi there, welcome to Geo-ish. Today we're embarking on an exciting journey through some of the most incredible real-life geological wonders that served as the inspiration for the magical settings in your favourite Disney movies. But first, what is geology? Well, geology is like Earth's epic storybook filled with tales of rocks, mountains, and natural forces, such as volcanoes, that have shaped the planet we live on. I'm Shard, a graduate geologist, and I'm here to show you that geology is all around us. Now let's discover the hidden geological secrets in these iconic Disney landscapes. Starting off at number 1, let's dive into Cinderella's castle, an iconic symbol of enchantment at all Disneylands around the world. But did you know that Cinderella's castle is actually inspired by a real castle in Germany called Neuschwanstein? Yes, this place is 100% real. Now check out Neuschwanstein's backdrop. Well, as you can see, it's showcasing towering rock formations. And well, rock formations in simple terms are like nature's sculptures made of rocks. Imagine you're at the beach and you see a big pile of sand that you shape into a sandcastle. Well, nature does something similar with rocks over a really long time. Water, wind, and other natural forces slowly change the way rocks look and stick together, creating the amazing and unique shapes you see today. So when you see big, cool rocks shaped in the mountains or canyons, those are rock formations, and they tell a story about Earth's history. Now, the backdrop of Neuschwanstein also showcases alpine terrain, and well, this is just a fancy way of describing the high, rocky, and often snowy landscapes you find on tall mountains. Now that's Geo-ish too. Our next stop, at number 2, is Agrabah and the Sultan's Palace in Aladdin. Ever noticed its resemblance to the Taj Mahal in India? Well, it's no coincidence. The Taj Mahal is a marvel created from marble rock, which is known for its beautiful and smooth appearance. It has lots of different colours and patterns. That's why people have been using marble for centuries, well, thousands of years, to make things like sculptures, fancy buildings, and even the countertops in our kitchens. Marble is a special rock called a metamorphic rock. That's because it begins as a different type of rock called a limestone. But then over a very long time, we're talking tens of thousands to millions of years, incredible geoprocesses deep in the earth transforms limestone into the beautiful marble we know. So marble is like limestone that pretty much got a fancy makeover. At number 3, let's venture into Rapunzel's Tower in Tangled. Reminiscent of the tiny Mont Saint-Michel island in France, which is arguably France's most visited place outside of Paris. Mont Saint-Michel is a tidal island. This means it's surrounded by water when the tide comes in. However, when the tide goes out, it's more exposed, and people can actually travel to it from the mainland through a special bridge known as a causeway. What makes Mont Saint-Michel really cool geo-wise is the way it was formed. The story begins with lots of tiny ancient sea creatures. When these died, their seashells settled on the seabed, piled up, and over millions of years turned into limestone, which, by the way, is what we call a sedimentary rock. In short, Mont Saint-Michel is basically a limestone hill that stood strong while the softer rocks around it slowly eroded away because of things like rain, wind, and sea level changes. These natural processes, which are part of how the earth changes over a very long time, shaped Mont Saint-Michel into the island you see today. It's an amazing example of how nature's forces can sculpt the land over millions of years. Our 4th stop is The Princess and the Frog, which is set in the magical city of New Orleans, Louisiana in the USA. Well, this place is incredibly important geo-wise. Throughout much of the film, you'll notice the characters navigating through extensive network of swamps and wetlands, which provide habitats for a range of wildlife, including alligators and turtles. Those wet places are like time capsules because the mud at the bottom doesn't have much air in it. that's perfect for keeping ancient things like fossils in really good shape, just like we find fossils today and learn about creatures from the past. Maybe in the future humans will find fossils from the animals living there today. And in the movie, there's also the Mississippi River, which leads to the Mississippi Delta. Think of a delta like a giant puzzle piece made by the river. The river brings tiny little particles like sand from far away, but when it reaches the end of the river and meets the ocean, it drops all that stuff, creates a big pile of mud and sand. And this pile is what we call the delta, and it's how nature makes land. That's pretty cool, right? Louisiana is also a big player in the US's oil and gas industry. This is because it's sitting on some pretty special rocks. Think of these as underground storage tanks filled with oil and natural gas. Now, geologists, depending on what they specialise in, they pretty much help others to figure out where these rocks are lying deep underground. And, so energy and money can be made. At number 5, Moana beckons us to the beautiful Polynesian Islands. The Polynesian Islands, like Hawaii, were born from underwater volcanoes. Imagine these volcanoes as massive mountains hidden beneath the sea. Over time, as they erupted, they spewed out hot lava that cooled and piled up, eventually reaching the ocean surface. That's when those volcanoes became islands. As they rose above the water, they started forming beautiful landscapes, which we know as the Polynesian Islands. It's like nature's own island building process, all thanks to volcanic power. No wonder why we have such a predominant fiery volcanic character throughout the movie Moana. Moana also reminds us to respect Mother Nature. Hands up if you shed a tear while watching it. At number 6, let's look at Beast's Castle in Beauty and the Beast, mirroring the grandeur of Château de Chambord in France. What's fascinating is that Château de Chambord's architecture was influenced by the types of rocks in the region. Now we're talking about a particular limestone called tufu. Tufu is a soft, white or cream-coloured limestone that was widely used in French architecture during the Renaissance period. That's at least 322 years ago. Next up is Disney's Cars. The stunning red rock canyons transport us to the American West. If Mars were on Earth, this place would be it. The area boasts geological formations like Monument Valley, which was created over a staggering 300 million years ago. It's also famous for its flat-topped rocks, known as buttes. This place is arguably the most photographed on Earth. Buttes were formed when the area was raised above the ancient seas at the time. Erosion processes then chipped away at the exposed soft rocks like sandstones, forming the peculiar shapes we see today. At number 8, let's appreciate beautiful landscapes in Brave, reminiscent of the Scottish Highlands, which is nothing short of a geological wonderland. For instance, you'll see a great deal of Merida, the main character, travelling on her horse Angus throughout rugged hills, deep valleys, and beautiful lochs. And that's the Scottish word for lakes, inspired by real Scottish wilderness. Part of the landscape's geological history involves it being shaped by glaciers, which are huge sheets of ice that covered the land during the last ice age. The glaciers scraped and carved the landscape, leaving behind the stunning views we see in Brave. And heading to number 9, The Lion King transports us to the African savannah, a giant playground of geology with lots of exciting features. You know those big flat-topped rocks in The Lion King, including Pride Rock? Well, the real African savannah has similar rocks called Inselbergs. Inselbergs are huge, isolated mountains that suddenly pop up from a flat area. While it may not be scientifically accurate, Pride Rock is a bit like that, standing tall in a movie savannah, providing a dramatic and iconic backdrop for various scenes. Oh, and remember the elephant graveyard where steam shoots up from the ground? Well, these are called geysers. And while they may not exactly match real-world geology, if we were to provide a geological explanation for it, we might say that geysers in the elephant graveyard could represent areas with underground hot springs. Now, hot springs are places where water from deep underground is heated by the Earth's internal heat. Now, that's some pretty deep heat, and we'll get to that in a later video. And finally, at number 10, we dive into Pocahontas, set in the lush natural beauty of the Virginia wilderness during the early 17th century. While the film showcases geological wonders like the James River when Pocahontas is captured, in reality the region is pretty flat, so no majestic cliffs and high falls. That said, Disney may have taken inspiration from landscapes surrounding the Appalachian Mountains, which are located in the eastern part of North America. Hundreds of millions of years before dinosaurs even roamed the earth, North America and Africa crashed into each other. This huge collision made the Appalachian Mountains. Picture this like slowly folding a rug against the wall, creating wrinkles and bumps. It took millions of years for these mountains to rise up, and then the rain, wind, and rivers sculpted them into the beautiful landscapes we see today. So the Appalachian Mountains are like a natural masterpiece formed by ancient earth drama. And that's a wrap, at least for this video. These Disney film settings remind us of how Earth's timeless geological wonders inspire the most creative of imaginations. While they transport us to enchanting worlds, they also highlight the profound geological diversity that has shaped our beautiful planet Earth. If you think other Disney films have landscapes inspired by real-life geology, or if you're curious about something a little Geo-ish, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us today. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe.